What's going on, gang? Back another episode of Man Time here. I've got the Caterpillar 941 Traxcavator up here for a little maintenance. I've gone through and serviced and repaired the John Deere so far, the Mahindra, which was actually the power steering filter, which I had forgotten it had, or didn't know that it had, or something, but I went to service that because the hydraulics were acting up. Power steering had completely shut off, and so that kind of triggered me to think about other things that might be going on other than the hydraulic system, because the loader still worked, the 3-point still worked. The only thing that wasn't working was the power steering. So I investigated a little bit further, found out it needed a filter and fluid, and got all that stuff done on the Mahindra. Also put in the injection pump in the John Deere. Did all my maintenance on the 555 and repaired the tire on the dump truck. So all the rest of my stuff is good to go. I just wanted to get the 941 ready to go. And if you guys are enjoying these maintenance type videos or want more maintenance type videos, I can do more. I didn't record anything on the Mahindra or the John Deere because me kind of hunched over and doing stuff on the vehicles is I don't know. I just haven't figured it out yet how to make it interesting and get the right camera angles and get the camera in there close enough so you can see what I'm doing and talk about it. Plus it's 100 degrees and I'm working outside, so I've got limited amount of time, right? I've only got so much time to actually do the work and then also to do the camera work and everything else. So I'm going to try to take you along a little bit on the 941 here. It shouldn't need too much. I'm just going to go through and check all the fluids, make sure that all of the grease zirks are greased and accepting grease, and if they're not, I'll take them off of there and flush them out, and make sure that that every pin on here is greased. Make sure the oil level's good and everything like that. So come along with me today, and I'll take you through 941 Traxcavator. Welcome to Man Time. Alright, gang, first thing we're going to do here is make sure the batteries are charged up. And so this has got dual batteries in it. And what we want to do is first of all hook up the cables. These are actually ran in series to produce a 24 volt versus a 12 volt. If they ran in parallel, you get a 12 volt series, you get the 24. So what we'll do first is we're just going to hook up one battery at a time, so you've got that charge going through one battery versus trying to charge both at the same time. This is only a 12 volt charger, so we'll hook one up to the positive, one up to the negative there, and just kind of give it a once over here, making sure everything looks okay. I've got some damage to the wire sheathing here from when I had a wood rat living in here, so that's always nice. But yeah, the cable seems to be holding up pretty good, and the power cable here isn't touching anything that could bring it to ground. So you can see here on the battery charger, we were charging at about 10 amps, so it wasn't completely fully charged. So that's the first step here. Next step is going to be going over all the grease zirks. So you can see here you've got every pin or every pivot point here is going to have a grease zirk on it. And first thing we want to do is wipe off the grease and dirt from where you hook the gun up to the grease zirk, where the grease goes in. Otherwise you're just pushing dirt on top of the old grease in there. So just go ahead and walk around, wipe off all of the ends of these grease zirks. Here is basically the only way to grease when you've got a bunch of equipment. This is a DeWalt 20 volt, and if you're looking for something to put on your Christmas wish list this year, besides that bottle of your favorite drink, this here is invaluable. It makes things so quick and so easy. It's the only way to grease zirks on a piece of equipment like this. Just couldn't live without it here. Thanks, Dad. Perfect present. All right. Ooh, that didn't sound good. Yeah, see, that one is just blowing all the grease back out at me. That is not good. Look at this right here. Yeah. This is that Lucas Red and Tacky grease. I'm finishing out this tube and I'm done with it. If you let it sit for a while, it separates and you've got a liquid coming out of the grease, and then the grease gets really hard. Yeah. I'm staying away from the Lucas Red and Tacky from now on. This is my last little bit of it. You can see here, it is just leaked all over, and it's leaking out of the bottom of the container here as well. That's too bad. Lucas usually makes a pretty good product, and since we share the same name, you know, it's kind of cool. But yeah, their grease is not good. Okay, we got our zirk here. And we'll hook it up into here and see if it was the zirk that was clogged or the actual pin itself. Okay, so grease is coming out of there nice and easy. So that means there's something in the pin that is not letting that grease through. We'll see if we can get it to take some grease with this manual grease gun. You can feel a little bit better how much pressure you're putting on there. Well, I think I got it to take just a little grease. Boy, I don't know if there's a better place to do a little impromptu instructional video here than on a bulldozer track, but here we go. I ran out of grease in the DeWalt, thank God. I've been trying to get rid of that Lucas Red and Tacky now for a while, so we'll just see how easy it is here to change the grease out on this. And you can see here I've got that Red and Tacky just all over. It's just a mess. It separates, and you've just got a big freaking mess. Alright, so let's see. If I remember right, this wasn't too bad the last time. Of course, it's still a pain. Okay. Well, still some grease in there. Well, we're down to the end of it. Oh, okay. All right, so there's a little recess in there, and you can see the Red and Tacky is just a nightmare. Just a nightmare. And this hadn't been sitting in there for very long. As much grease as I go through, you know, it'd be a good screenshot. Ah, the grease! Look at the outside of this. I mean, that's red, but all that is just where the grease is liquefied. And so the lubrication properties of the grease have now changed. You've got one harder grease and this liquidy stuff, which doesn't do anything. It flows away. And then the other grease is stiff, so it doesn't flow. So it's just a whole bad deal there. Anyways, I am going back with my tried and trusted Valvoline grease. This is the grease that I used for many, many years until I read up on forums and different places that there was a better Lucas Oil branded synthetic grease that just is a lifesaver. Well, whatever. If it doesn't even, I don't know, it just doesn't work well. It separates and I don't like it. So, we'll put her back in here, line her up, get her threaded up in there. Okay, and that's changing the grease tube in this DeWalt unit. Push that back up in there, and we should be all set, ready to grease a few more zirks. Another thing I like to do is degrease all of my tools before I put them back in the toolbox. There's really nothing worse than grabbing a wrench that has grease all over it and dirt all over it. It just makes, for the next time that you go to use the tools, they are ready and put back where they're supposed to be, and also cleaned, so you don't start the job off with dirty hands and in a bad mood. So, pro tip there: clean your tools, make them ready for use. Okay, so here we are looking underneath the seat of the vehicle, and here we've got one of our dipsticks. This is for the rear axle assembly and clutches, and we'll wipe that off, make sure it's nice and clean. Go back in here and see how much fluid we've got. And there we are. Right, almost up to the full mark. Good clean oil, that's good. We are good there. Well, it's good to see. You've got a couple filters here, and when I first got this vehicle, I went through and flushed all of the tanks out with diesel. Let diesel sit in there, flushed it out, and then changed all the filters. And I think I've done that one time since. Really nice thing about this Caterpillar in particular, it was basically designed for military use, so you can use SA30 throughout the vehicle. So like the 303 tractor fluid, I believe that is universal throughout all of the tanks. On the owner's manual and the CAT service guide, it says SAE30. The next filter we're going to check is right underneath of this inspection panel here. I believe this is for the transmission. And this one is supposed to check while it's running, but we'll just look and see where we're at here. Yeah, my line is up here, so I've got plenty in there. It's up here right now. When it drains down and is running, it's going to come down to that full mark, so we're good there. Okay, last but not least is our hydraulic fluid. There's a big hydraulic fluid tank right on the side of the vehicle here, just off of your right armrest. And for this one, you need basically the biggest, hardiest flathead you can find. So on one side of this, you've got your fill with a pre-filter, and then on the other side you've got your main filter. But on this one here, you've got your dipstick. And I am 3/4 of the way up the ad, so I'll add a little bit of fluid here. And what I do to fill that fluid, I'll just flip that around like that, and let's get some fluid added in there. I'll just top it off a bit here. Okay, and that brought us up to the bottom of the full. I'm going to say that we're going to be fine with that. That, and I'm out of the good Caterpillar hydraulic fluid. I'll have to go get some more of that. You want to get all these caps and things on here really nice and tight. Otherwise, you are going to have issues with everything coming loose.